Listen, ain't no big deal. Just put the gun to their head.
You killed him?
But it wasn't my fault. He made me do it.
Calm down, Eddie. Tell me what happened.
That guy, he had it coming. I didn't do anything. He just came after me. Besides, he was making fun of me with his eyes.
Previously on Traipsing through Silent Hill 2.
Maria!
Eddie, you can't just kill someone because of the way they looked at you.
Hello, all you ponderous and classy Traipsers. It is I, Jonathan Charles Bruce, here to escort you through one man's shockingly in-depth self-loathing. We emerge from another leap of faith into, another leap of faith. I always wish there was just something a little bit more in this section, like the room shoving you into the abyss, but whatever. It's cool. Do you remember the Historical Society's reference to the Wiltsey Mines? James apparently does. So we're going to be spending a bit of time on this. I really hate how the developers gave us the shaft. I mean, come on, they're really lowering the discourse here. Why can't we lift this conversation to a higher place? You know, I hate to strike a vein here, but this mine is a bit too unseemly. Is it me or is it Cole in here? Or not, I can't be sure. Not to pick a fight or anything, but I'm having trouble bearing this. Come on, auger this in already! I think that by now we do get the drill with these long sequences of nothing happening. Give us a break line or something. It feels like we're in a cage here. I mean, it's not like we can have a Coke in this mine. If any of those puns failed to land appropriately, I apologize. No intention of a misfire in the Wiltsey Mines. After we save our game, we take this door to the next area, which is referred to as the Labyrinth. Trust me, it's amazing. See, now here's an obstacle that actually kind of makes sense with our current loadout. I did say kind of. If you were willing to do some kind of abstract thinking, or indeed just use a number of our 300 plus bullets, this is a non-issue. But plot demands James be temporarily unable to think. Maybe he just doesn't want to crimp his sleeves. Our first stop is going to be an optional area. It's basically an O with a room in the center. There are stalactites and the Antagonist down here. You can run through this entire gauntlet really easily if you actually just go down the left ladder and head immediately to the left. I stand corrected. That's the game's biggest fan. Oh shit, is that? It is! So the Great Knife is actually the final regular melee weapon of the game, and the single most powerful one to boot. Typically wielded by the Antagonist, this ungainly beast will pretty much end most monsters in a solitary overhead blow. The awkward left to right swing hits for less damage and takes longer with the advantage of, yeah, there is no advantage to it with the exception of one very specific situation. You cannot block or run with this weapon, and James's gait is reduced to a shuffle as he drags the thing behind him. The Great Knife is a silly name for a weapon, but it's still better than something unashamedly doofy, like Final Fantasy VII's Buster Sword. How's it going? Just, hanging out? I think this is supposed to be the antagonist's lair, what with the corpses, cages, and signature weapon just chilling and waiting for some adventurous individual to come and steal. I wonder what the rent is on some trans-dimensional hovel. Probably fairly cheap considering the commute. And we can check out the menu for, Oh, god damn it, game. Yeah, the official name of the antagonist is Pyramid Head. I don't care what your argument is, it is a profoundly stupid name for what amounts to a nightmarish horror monster. It doesn't strike fear into the hearts of listeners. It's not even something that is whispered for fear of summoning it. It's something a kindergartner calls you when you make a paper pirate hat. It's something an idiot would say when trying to remember the name of a pharaoh. It's something a humorless jackass professor would say to the class, dumbass. It's the shell-shocked description of a grisly architectural accident. It is not scary. Okay, I think I'm okay now. Anyway, let's give the Great Knife a whirl, shall we? If you equip the weapon and turn off your flashlight, you are effectively invisible from enemies. You're moving too slowly to generate footsteps, and the monsters can't hear you dragging it on the floor for some reason. Knife to meet you! Some have speculated that the enemies are actually fleeing from you because they think you're the antagonist and that you're going to do something horrific to them. But if they become aware of you at any point, even with the light off, they will turn and attack. So I think this is less they're afraid and more the designers forgot to make the sound something baddies can hear. Tomato, tomato, really. Shall I cleave you alone? Allow me to get to the point! I probably shouldn't be enjoying this as much as I am. You're probably not going to be seeing too much more of the Great Knife. It does have its uses, and it's pretty much the only way to win hard mode without devoting a lifetime to the penultimate boss, but for most encounters your less powerful resources provide much more versatility. The PC version, with its quick select weapon option, makes this a somewhat more adaptable tool, but really not by much. The major gimmick of the labyrinth is that it is labyrinthine. A handful of paths lead nowhere, and there are limited supplies. There is also no map that we can pick up. James instead will draw one as we go, but only if the light is on for the duration of a segment. What this means is that in hard mode you basically have to choose between being invisible and finding your way around. Or at least, that would be the case if this place wasn't actually relatively straightforward. I mean, if you ignore all the twisty-turny, dead-endy stuff. Here's our first puzzle of the sub-dungeon. This room clearly has several doors on the ceiling, floors, and walls. In the previous room, there was a cube of faces. The object is to find the doors that will allow you direct access to a presently hidden room directly across from the entrance. This is a hard puzzle if you happen to be bad at spatial awareness. The actual answer to this extra to the max extreme difficulty mode puzzle is to rotate the cube downward twice. I think the designers anticipate one move to screw it up, and then trying to figure it out from there. But still, maybe they felt boxed in and couldn't face it. Oh, I was promised you were dead!
You're alive! Maria, I thought that thing killed you. Are you hurt bad?
Not at all, silly.
Maria? That thing, it stabbed you. There was blood everywhere.
James? That objectively did not happen.
Stabbed me? What do you mean?
It chased us to the elevator, and then...
James, what are you talking about?
Just before. Don't you remember?
James, honey, did something happen to you? After we got separated in that long hallway? Are you confusing me with someone else? You were always so forgetful. Remember that time in the hotel?
Maria?
You said you took everything, but you forgot that videotape we made. I wonder if it's still there.
How do you know about that? Aren't you Maria?
I'm not your Mary.
So, you're Maria?
I am. If you want me to be.
All I want from you is an answer.
It doesn't matter who I am. I'm here for you, James. See? I'm real. Don't you want to touch me?
I don't know.
Come and get me. I can't do anything through these bars.
Have you never heard of a hand job, Maria? Hell, bars couldn't reasonably stop any mutual masturbation. You're just not thinking this through, Big M.
Okay. Stay right there. I'll be there soon.
Critique of Maria's sexual blinders aside, this is what I believe was supposed to be a major plot twist. Not only does it turn out that Maria's alive, but she's also channeling Mary, but not actually. The fact that she pops up here, and now specifically to fuck with James, is pretty telling that Maria is just a creation of James's imagination, given flesh to torment him in various ways. Maria, then, is a product of both James's memory of and desire for Mary. She is sexually more provocative than Mary was, yet maintains James's memories of the positive aspects of their relationship. Or rather, I think that was the intent. As I've maintained since meeting Maria, the character is just written way too poorly for this reveal to resonate particularly well. James and Maria's first meeting has James practically recoiling at the woman's touch. He looks like he's about to punch her at this point.
Maybe. You hated her.
Don't be ridiculous.
Then is supremely annoyed at her in the bowling alley.
I didn't come here to play, you know.
Even in this scene, listen to this hostility.
I'm not your Mary.
The only moment of levity between the two, and interestingly enough, the only truly human moment that they share, is with the lead ring. To make this scene work, Maria would have had to have been written consistently from the start. If they just focused on developing her as a character, this sudden shift would be jarring. You know, what I'm pretty sure what they were intending, and hence why I believe this was supposed to be some kind of twist. Instead, Maria's personality has shifted wildly between every scene, so this is just another weird moment with a weird character who has shown nothing but weird moments. You know, like a nihilist pixie dream girl. You know what? I think Maria shouldn't have looked anything like Mary. She should have been presented as just another lost soul who tags along with James. She could have had a personality and past that makes her unique among the others here, and then she slowly starts beginning to develop snippets of Mary's personality and memories until this moment when she's completely gone to that side. I think then Maria's creeping malevolence, and make no mistake, there is something wrong about Maria. All the more dangerous because it's better hidden. Further, it would add a level of discomfort to the character. Instead of clearly being a creation of James of the town from the get-go, the players would be left wondering if she was real and corrupted by the force of James's delusion, or if she was just a hallucination. See, I can totally do this scary stuff. Sadly, for every couple of things the game does really, really well, there has to be at least one thing sufficiently bungled to muddy the experience. In this cutscene, for instance, we have a couple of really cool things going on. The cell is designed to make it appear that both Maria and James are behind bars, creating an interesting question of which one of them is truly trapped. On top of that, did you happen to catch the room number? It's 208. Wasn't there something, I don't know, sinister that happened in apartment 208 a couple of hours ago? See, there are some really great moments and decisions, and then Maria comes along looking like Cameron Diaz and proceeds to vomit all over the goodwill the game has built up. And then there's the fact that the designers spoiled this moment before the game even begins. But we'll get to that next time. So I really like this part of the dungeon. The closest analogous location from the first game is capital N Nowhere, the final nightmare constructed from Alessa's memories that was 2 parts interesting and about 6 parts stupid fetch quest. I also like how it actually makes a sewer level semi-interesting by alternating the wet rocky parts with the barren structure above. It's amazing what a little bit of imagination can do for what is otherwise a series of bland rooms. I mean, these puzzles are clearly indicative of some kind of inner spiraling of James's subconscious. I mean, we're all on that page, right? We dove through a bunch of holes unscathed and emerged in a prison, only to dive through some more holes, only to ride an elevator into this not quite a place. We've really left reality behind and are quite literally strolling around a representation of James's mind. Despite the fact that there's no real challenge to this area, nor is there anything particularly scary about it, I do love the atmosphere. If we're inside James's head, for instance, just look at how dead this all is. Outside of Maria, who I guess is positioned as James's id, we have Taffymen, who I argue are positioned more as prisoners than the Origins-esque straitjacketed patients. And then there's the occasional appearance of the Antagonist, an executioner. Moreover, if the Antagonist's base of operations is literally in a symbolic representation of James's own mind, then there's clearly a part of him that wants him dead. And if a labyrinth is meant to be inescapable, well, what's going on should be fairly obvious. Shame about the whole Maria's written like a canker-sore given unholy voice thing, huh? Should we kill this Taffy man? I'm kind of on the fence about it. Oh my god, it's a witch! Damp. This is the dampest dungeon, and thinking about James's waterlogged boots has just skeeved me out. By the way, the radio is still off. Still hasn't really presented itself as a significant problem. Just thought you should know. The prison and the labyrinth are probably the only 2 places where it even approaches being an issue. Lots of blind corners and camera angles that loathe you personally. However, there are music cues in the prison, and most Taffy men are sloshing about noisily or just generally making their loud asses known. The Antagonist is really the only one who gets a stealth bonus at all. I think I just realized that the dead flashlight room is the last time we'll be seeing the cockroaches. That's kind of strange, considering the environments we'll be finding ourselves in. Although I wasn't particularly attached to the insects, I wouldn't say they bugged me or anything. Oh hey, what are you up to here in this dank basement? That's right, the Antagonist guards this out-of-the-way part of the labyrinth. You'd think that this was a necessary area, but the exit is actually right by the entrance. I just wanted to show off Stabby Dickface here. I think the real crime of this place is the fact that there's ample opportunity for flavor text and story chunks that just goes unused. In fact, you could have probably crammed the single cool part of the post-Brookhaven padding nonsense into this section by having a door lead to Neely's bar with its aggressively anti-James graffiti. You could have also had a section where you're running around a super messed up version of Rosewater Park where all the statues are of a weeping Maria. I don't know, something. The reason I like this dungeon so much more than Brookhaven is the fact that I'm not searching for the next item to progress, I'm just pushing ahead. Even when I am literally collecting some wire cutters to unlock the next section, it doesn't feel like it's a ridiculously convoluted way to waste time. The level itself is the puzzle and chief obstacle, and I really enjoy that. It doesn't feel bloated. Huh. Newspaper. What's going on with that newspaper? Interesting. First off, 12:30 midnight? Not a thing. Midnight is a solitary moment, not a stretch of time. Second off, Thomas was stabbed to death by someone who knew him in a crime of passion. Thirdly, apparently this drunk dickhole had a past checkered with instances of him being a drunk dickhole. So, gee, an abusive parental figure who was stabbed to death. Who have we seen with a fixation on a regular-sized knife that also happened to have family problems, So remember what I said about the coin puzzle? Well, shit's about to get confirmed all up in this place. Prepare for darkness next time, Traipsers. Just know that I have your backs no matter how bad things get. No matter what, the only torture you deserve is my brand of punishment. On the next episode of Traipsing Through Silent Hill 2.